Back to the basics, time to know. Soft skills, girls, and latest strength show. Work smarter, reach higher, unlock the door to more success than ever before.
Today, today, my friends, we are going to talk about the 1 minute rehearsal. What? What does that do? What is that all about? So let's start with a quick question. What could you realistically get done in just 1 minute? So this is a question for all of you that are here. What is something that you can realistically get done? Let me bring this over here so I can see everybody. But what can you realistically get done in a minute? And sometimes it's hard to think like when you're put kind of on the spot or whatever, but think of it. You could in a minute, what could you do? You can make coffee, or in my case, I have a cup of hot cocoa. I like my hot cocoa in the morning. You can send a text. You can check your email on your phone when you're able to and you're not in the call center. You can take several deep breaths. You can reset your posture. So strong. Now imagine using that same minute to get ready for like an important conversation or as a leader getting prepared for whatever meeting that you have. And that's what we're going to focus on today. But these are the things that you can do. What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? And we're going to talk about that and how to use this effectively today. A 1 minute rehearsal is exactly what it sounds like. It's really it's an intentional moment where you're mentally and you're verbally walking through something that you're about to do or say or process before it happens. That's all it is. You probably do this right now. Think of it this way also. It's great for things when you're going to be under a lot of pressure or unfamiliar moments as a leader, or even if you're not in a leadership role, because it's going to help you to think clearly and to choose the words and practice your tone in advance. I wouldn't just go ahead and just find something on the internet and start to read it, and then that's going to be my class, and that's what we're going to talk about for back to the basics. No, I have to go ahead and write and rewrite and read and update and practice before I go ahead and present something. Where can you go ahead and start to practice and do a 1 minute rehearsal before you start a meeting? What are we going to talk about? Get those words in your head. You're giving a performance appraisal. You're talking about someone's performance. Maybe you're giving some feedback, whether positive or negative. When you give recognition, you're giving it as an awarding ceremony or something like that in your office. And you want to make sure that you say it correctly. Or even when you're answering a challenging question and you have to give a response that is intelligent and will be able to reflect on the answer correctly. Think of this as a leadership warm up, if you will, getting prepared. And now that we've talked about this, think about when you have done this before. Think about before you have a team meeting. Do you go over your notes? Do you think of what you're going to say? Do you have these hypothetical conversations in your head? I do that to prepare for something. Maybe I'm going into a meeting with the leadership team here in my department, and I have to make a comment or I have to update something. Then I will prepare what I'm going to say ahead of time. Even if it's just a couple of seconds before the meeting, like, okay, this is what I need to make sure I talk about. I need to talk about the team meeting, recent trainings, and practice my swimming. But whatever that might be, I'm thinking about this ahead of time so that I'm prepared. Or the same thing, even if you prepared for a job interview or anything else, you practice and rehearse a little bit ahead of time. But only doing it in 60 seconds, you can do this. It's not something you can say, well, I'm so busy. 60 seconds. You can afford 60 seconds sometime in your life. All right. So what all of these things that we're talking about when we talk about why does this work? Your brain actually responds to a rehearsal almost like it's a real thing, believe it or not. And the more that you do this, the better you're going to get at it. A 1-minute rehearsal, it's going to help to build this level of clarity and it's going to lower your stress. You still might be nervous. I've been in shows and parades and presented in front of hundreds, if yet thousands of people at one time. And I'm still going to get a little bit nervous before I go out on stage or before I train a class or whatever. But if I am prepared and kind of go through a little 60-second rehearsal ahead of time, will I still be a little nervous? Maybe. Will I be more focused? Definitely. Because this is going to help you to visualize success. It's going to help reinforce a level of clear messaging, and for the most part, what this is really going to do is it's going to build this level of confidence because you're prepared. Imagine going into a meeting, your boss gives you an agenda, cover this with the team, and it's 5 seconds before the meeting begins, and you don't really have a chance to even go through things. Or do you? Even in that 5 seconds, you can still go through and glance at the topics and start to formulate in your head as you're even speaking. You're one step ahead, preparing the same time. Is it possible to actually do a 1-minute rehearsal as we're having something else going on at the exact same time? You betcha. Because now I'm also presenting to you, but I'm also looking at the topic that's going to come next and what words I'm going to say. I prefer to do all this ahead of time, but you get the point. So we're going to do a live demonstration. So let me show you what we need. So first, I need a volunteer of one of the grouping that we have here together. I need to get a volunteer. Let's say that you're about to lead a check-in with your team after a rough week and a lot of stuff going on. You have like a little quick stand up or a quick little meeting. You want to sound supportive, but you also want to sound honest. Let's go through how you'd prepare and what you'd say. So what would you be doing during the 60 seconds? You're about to lead a check-in, you're about to do a quick little team meeting. It's been like a really crummy week. It's been really busy. Calls are coming in, sessions are coming in. The system is messed up. VLab is redirecting to different procedures. Nothing is going right, but you've got to go ahead and check in and stay positive with your team. What would you start to say, or what would be the process that you would go through to sound supportive, but you also want to sound honest at the same time with that tone? Got to do a check in, rough week. You want to sound supportive but honest. What would you go through in that 60 seconds before that meeting? So if I were going to go ahead and have a meeting with my team or my boss, so my boss is Dwayne, he's the assistant vice president of customer experience. My role is the manager of corporate training, and I've got Dell and Lewis and Lenina. We're all in this meeting, and Dwayne has to have a kind of a just a quick check in with us because it's been a rough week. What would he go through? Well, he's going to look at what in his mind, what did we go through? What did we accomplish? Where were our challenges? What were our strengths? Maybe we do a SWOT analysis as he's thinking this. What are our strengths? What are the weaknesses that we had? Um, what were the opportunities that we faced? What were the threats to our success? And how can we do better? He's starting to think of all these different things. That's rehearsing that in your mind. So what was our strengths? Our strengths were that we answered 1,000 calls. Our weaknesses were because our average handle time was a little bit longer at 5 minutes instead of 4 minutes. We had all kinds of great opportunities, and we were successful in a lot of them. The thing that threatened us the most hmm, the thing that threatened us the most was that blah, 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 XYZ. Then you start to ask yourself, as you've gone through that 60-second rehearsal, how did it feel? Like you go through it and like, all right, I rehearsed this. How does it feel? Now that you've rehearsed it, and hopefully you've done these things and you've practiced it out loud. That when you practice a script, I want you to practice it out loud, not in your mind, right? Because it's different when we just think of what we're going to say. But when I'm going to practice something like this particular presentation, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to do it out loud so that I can go ahead and hear myself. It's different than just thinking. You're saying, you're doing, you're building up muscle memory and hand-eye coordination, all these other things to get the point across. So what do you think about this idea of the 1-minute rehearsal? Like, how could you incorporate this in your day? How could you incorporate this with the feedback that you provide to your team? How could you use this in just everyday life? This isn't just for work. Maybe you go ahead and you drive to work and you drive home. So in your mind, you're rehearsing, I'm going to take this road and this street. I'm going to turn at this light and I'm going to arrive at work. And you do that ahead of time before you actually even leave the house or before when you get up in the morning. What are the things that I need to do? So I sit up in bed. I know that I need to get dressed and brush my teeth and take a shower. I'm going through this in my head before I actually start doing things. That little rehearsal. It may not even be 60 seconds. 60 seconds is a long time when you're thinking through a task or an idea or something that you need to prepare for. So, how do you think that you will be able to go ahead and use a 1-minute rehearsal with yourself or with your team?
For me, Alan, I would say like this actually boils in how you manage your time, not necessarily as a leader, but as a person in life, because time is very important. Like there's no time to waste because now every minute you don't do anything productive, that's like you don't care about life itself. Not necessarily like work related, but I'm just talking about like time itself. Like
Right.
managing your time is very important because now you are able to plan yourself ahead. So whatever you do in that minute, it has to count for you. And whatever you do also in that minute needs to be something productive rather than you just sitting and thinking. You can think for an hour without doing anything, but just think. But now if you take that minute to actually do something which is different, then it does make a difference.
You said 3 words, make it count. Because you can sit there for an hour and do absolutely nothing, or you can take the 60 seconds and really make it count. And I think I will give you full credit. Maybe I'll do an entire lesson just on making things count. I like that idea, but that's very powerful about what you said. Um,
Yeah.
and that's a testament to who you are. So thank you for that thought. Now, my friend, please go ahead.
Yes, hello, Aline. Good.
Yes.
All right. So I have some experience in regarding with this because I've been through for hosting in the event here in our place, and yeah, actually, 1 minute rehearsal is a quick mental or spoken run through of what you would say, usually before a meeting or conversation. Actually, I have um think about the three things that I have been learned with you, especially the sharpen your message, set your tone, and feel more prepared in less than 60 minutes or 60 seconds. That is a big, what they call it, that can warm with yourself before you're going to speak in front of many people. And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of just getting warmed up. It's mentally preparing yourself. First, you know that you can do it. It's just a matter of like, how do you do it? Instead of jumping in cold, like just starting to show up at a TED talk and trying to wing it, you practice, you prepare, and that gets you ready. So these thoughts are so important. And I'm so proud that you're understanding this really simple concept. but it works. It absolutely works because you will feel more comfortable. You will feel more confident. And remember, when you feel confident, then people will have those observations and they'll feel that level of confidence as well. Because if I started this particular session and I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, this isn't working and I didn't do this right and I didn't finish everything and I wasn't really ready to begin, you could see it. But if I'm prepared and I have my notes and my presentation and I've mentally prepared along the way and took that extra even 60 seconds before I began just to put myself in the right mindset. It's a whole other topic. But just to go ahead and just be there, go through this. And I'm not even saying like using a self affirmation. I'm just saying just prepare in 60 seconds. And you can do it hundreds of times a day along the way. And that will give you that extra boost of confidence. And you come out looking great, the results should be more effective for you because you're prepared. And people will see that too. So we're right at 24 minutes past the hour. What thoughts would you like to share?
Yeah, hi Alan, hi everyone. So, this is not actually a question, but more on like I just like to answer the question that you've thrown to us earlier. Well,
Okay.
actually, if we'll talk about for my personal thing to do in 1 minute, well, actually, um I mean, every time I woke up, I take like at least 5 seconds of like breathing, and then like more of like doing a stretching, and then drink a glass of water. Like that's really my routine on a daily basis. Now, if we're going to talk about on a team setup, or yeah, handling your team, well, actually, since I've handled a lot of class way back then, so every day, also my daily routine is really to start a day with a 1 minute check-in. Well, what I did is each of my member, I'd like to share how they feel um from the yesterday's performance, um or like I'd like to share to them what was our performance yesterday, and I'd like to highlight what are those things that give us benefit about this performance or
Great.
yesterday's performance. And then if we have, or if we had things that needs to improve, then I'll also share it to them, so that for today's performance, we will be able to um, get that, or um, beat that performance from the yesterday's score. So in that way, in just 1 minute, you will be able to prepare your agents on what would be your objective for today's performance, and that will give you a domino effect on the end of the month, where you will get that top um top title, or you will be the top site for this month of having that good performance. So that, I mean, 1 minute, or not really like a 1 minute, um
Great.
what do you call that, preparation, but at least you know, or your agents know what will be your target for today. And that's all.
That's all part of preparation. Um,
Yes, actually.
and then, but see, but when you go through that with them, they will have their own 1 minute rehearsal of what to do with all that information.
Yeah.
But there's that cascading effect. So we have a discussion. We've thought it through. I give you some ideas. You think it through. You speak to your team. They think it through. And then it continues to have this effect on everyone and hopefully in a positive way because we're making that, 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 that positive influence and that will radiate from you. will radiate from you, and people will slowly start to shift their mindsets as well because they're watching you do these things. You're demonstrating to them
Yes.
the positive benefits of a 1-minute rehearsal. They start to do it, and then they'll show others. It's as simple as that. So it does have a cascading domino effect. Wonderful.
Yes.
That's
So you can yeah, and I guess, Alan, it would be very important as well if, I mean, how you prepare yourself prior facing your agents, because I guess your emotions would really affect to to your agents. So as much as possible when you face them, you have this type of preparation to make yourself calm, happy, or set aside those problems outside of, I mean, not related to your work.
that's a valuable tool too, or a valuable tip. Not just rehearsing what you want to do or what's going to happen, but also rehearsing what you don't want to have as part of the progress that you have moving forward or what you want to do. Like you're blocking those things out. I think that's great. Have a great rest of your day. Remember, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.